Hey guys, today we're going to be reviewing the Lancer Tactical LT20. Okay, so this obviously is the LT20. It's a pretty big gun. It's a Berett M82 50 BMG. It's mainly used as an anti-personnel rifle. On the whole, it's 4'7", which is pretty big. It's 140 centimeters, and it weighs not quite 7 pounds because it's made of polymer. The real gun is 27, and some airsoft guns try to make it real, so you're running around with a 27-pound gun, but this one weighs only 7. So now let's talk about the aesthetics close-up. It's got a pretty distinct flash hider, but there's no flash in airsoft guns, so you can take it off if you want to. Now the annoying thing is it has a ton of orange, but according to US law you only have to have a 6mm orange tip, so you could take away this big triangle here and just have this round part. It has 2 screws right here that you unscrew to slip it off. Most like flash hiders on an M4 or an M16 from Lancer Tactical just twist off. The barrel is aluminum and it's got some grooves here. I guess they're for cooling in the real gun. The barrel removes, and so how you lock it in is it's got a locking mechanism down here, but there's something weird with that, so I'll get to that later. But it's got a pin down here that's just a little 1/4 inch long threaded bolt, I guess, with an Allen wrench in the bottom that you just twist into a little divot in the bottom of the barrel. So it's got a monolithic top rail of about 2 feet. It doesn't have side rails, but I don't know what you would put on the side rails of a sniper. Maybe a laser point. Now I believe the rails are metric. I think they're 2.5 centimeters wide, so it's not quite an inch. So if you're getting scope rings, you're either going to have to put a spacer in or get not quite 1-inch scope rings. I don't think they make not quite 1-inch scope rings. When we get down here, it's got a pretty good sized mag. If you're going to get extras, you would need a canteen holder for them. It's got a 26 round low cap, and then back here, well I already got BBs in it, but has room for I believe 1,000 extra BBs or 2 CO2 canisters because you can get a CO2 conversion kit. And it's a little tricky, but I'll get to it. So the slide, you can see the spring and the piston and everything looking down into the gun. So you can see everything in there, which I guess if you drop your gun in the dirt, you're probably gonna have to clean your internals. So don't drop your gun in the dirt. And then the slide, you only have to pull back to about here, because I guess a 50 BMG is bigger than the spring, so you don't need to pull it back. And then we get to here. So this scope is weird, so I had to do a lot with it. I had to flip it upside down and tape it. It's got a nice pistol grip, ergonomic, I think is the word. Got a polymer trigger. It's got like an M4 fire select like this, except it only does safe and fire because a real M82 isn't fully automatic. It's got a polymer fire select, which is a little weird for Lancer Tactical guns, but it does snap. So when you have it on safe, it just blocks the trigger, but you can still squeeze it enough to pull the pin down and fire it, but when it's on safe you can't cock it. So getting to the stock, I put some camo on my gun just on a whim, but it's got a pin here, and then another pin here, and I attached my sling to this pin, and ventilation hole. So you take out the pin here, and the pin here, and the upper receiver slides off, unless you have it taped up. The butt plate is kind of nice. It's rubber, curved, but it's got 4 lumps of steel in it to counterweight the gun. And then it's got this. This is more useful, this handle, I guess, in real guns. So what you do is you're prone is when it's used. After a slight technical error, we're back. This is used when you're prone, so you're prone, and I'm going to have to hold it on the mag because it's too heavy. But you grab this, because you don't want to stick your hand all the way up here. You grab this, and you actually use it to pivot the gun. So onto the firing. It's 425 roughly with .2s out of the box, and the hop-up is set to .2s. I jiggled with it a little bit because it wasn't how I liked it. The barrel takes out, and what you do is you stick it in, rotate it, and then you rotate it back to lock it. But mine broke, but it's not a big deal. The little nub, I guess, that locks it in broke. I just use this, and it doesn't fall out. The spring is 425-ish FPS out of the box with .2s. I use .2s because That's what the hop-up was closest to, and they fly the best. It suggests it. The flight pattern is pretty good. It's like, it's not like a lot of snipers, or guns for that matter, like this M4, better ones. They fly out to their maximum range fast, and then they drop off. This one, you can watch it go all the way down there, and then sort of slow down and drop. This one actually curves to the right and then drops, or the left. I don't know. It's good up to about 150 feet, and then it starts to veer, but you can hit a man at 150 feet. And so, it's a pretty good gun. If you're looking at getting a sniper, I would strongly suggest it. This bipod is only 20 bucks extra, but I got mine on sale for $80, the whole gun. So I got it like $40 off. So I would suggest you just save up your 100 bucks and then wait for the one with the scope to go on sale if you have a lower budget. If you have a higher budget, get the SSG 24. So thanks guys. See you in the next one.